Peace be upon you. My name is Rashida Sadiq, the Emolligent teacher. Today we're going to be looking at how not to listen. Over the past 3 days, we've been talking about listening skills. On the first day, I outlined some of the key ways to make sure you're listening actively and properly. Yesterday, I focused on empathetic listening, and today we want to talk about how not to listen, which all of us tend to fall in from time to time. The first one is what I call pretend listening. So some of us will be listening to someone and we'll pretend we're listening, but we're not. So to make the person believe we're listening, we do things like but we're probably just sliding through our phones or doing something else by the side. We're just pretending. The second one is when we're spaced out. So we're daydreaming, we're looking at the person, it's as if we're listening to the person, but our minds are totally not there. Make sure you draw yourself back from daydreaming about what you're going to eat in the afternoon or what you're going to do tomorrow whenever you're listening to someone. The third one is selective listening. So in selective listening, it appears we're listening, but we're not hearing, we're not taking in everything. At the end of the conversation, we've only picked a few points. It's very important that when you're listening to someone, you listen to everything, not just those things that appeal to you or those things that you can relate to, such that you can get the whole picture. The fourth one is word listening. So some of us are listening to the person. We can hear all the words, but we're not taking in the other aspects of listening that we talked about. We're not taking in the tone of the person. We're not taking in the emotions behind the speech. We're not taking in the body language. We're not going to get the full message we're supposed to get if we're only word listening. The fifth one is self-centered listening. So a lot of us are listening, and while we're listening, we're only relating things to ourselves. We're thinking of it from our own point of view. We're thinking of how it's going to benefit us, what we can gain from listening. We're not thinking of, okay, this is a two-way communication. What can I gain? What can I give back? Why exactly am I listening to this person? Another thing that we tend to do is judging. That is a way not to listen, and I've talked about this in the 2 previous days. Let's avoid judgment when we're listening. Let's try to listen from a neutral perspective. Let's try to understand all the possible points of view before we, make our own response or before we take a stance. And the last one is when we're really in that response advise mode, or what we call the counter mode. So you're listening to somebody and you're just holding on in your mind to say, oh, he said that, I'm going to say this to counter this, or oh, this is going to be my advice to that person based on what he said. You're not listening to the entire speech. Sometimes people do not need your advice, they just need you to listen. So please try to take in all of these steps such that you listen actively, you listen properly, stay away from these pitfalls of improper listening that we tend to fall in. I hope this was of benefit, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.